Hey everyone, real talk for a minute. In this episode, while absolutely amazing, it contains some adult themes. So if you have kiddos listening, you might want to have them put their earmuffs on.
Hi, this is Roy Worley. Welcome to the interview show that brings on guests from all walks of life. Yeah, it's here that they tell their stories and delve a little deeper into their lives to see what got them where they are. So grab a drink, have a seat, and relax, because this is the Leo Effect.
When was the last time a short movie shook your emotions to the core? When was the last time a short movie caused you to rethink everything you stood for? When was the last time a short movie made you proud to be an American? When was the last time you felt the emotion to stand up and cheer after a short movie? The new short movie, I've Got Your Six, written and directed by Bill Foster, one of the industry's newest and fastest climbing directors, will answer all of those questions. Rarely has there been so much packed into a short movie that when you leave, you'll feel more proud of our American military veterans. A movie that was cast only with American military veterans will have you on the edge of your seat, cheering for our veterans and what makes America great. I've Got Your Six will be hitting the film festival scene soon. Be prepared to drop what you're doing and go see this powerful movie when it comes to your area. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Leo Effects. Now, today I'm joined by a very special guest. We've only just met, but I feel like I've known him for ages, and that's a great thing. He's awesome. We're from the same state. It's going to be a cool interview. Please allow me to introduce Ron Russell. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Now about you, and so nice to be on your show.
No, thank you. I'm so happy that you're here. All the hats that you wear, can you let the listeners know some of the stuff that you've done?
Okay, fire away. I started at 19 years old. I was in the movie with Sophia Loren and Taya Punter called That Kind of Woman, and that made me only want to act for the rest of my life. My mother was a silent movie actress, Jenny Gabriel, child actress, and my dad was a set designer for Broadway and films in Hollywood. And my sister married a movie producer. So my family is totally show business. It's in our blood. I
Mm-hmm.
love it. I was a stand-up comic for 45 years. I worked all over the country. I've done extra work. I've done TV work, Charlie's Angels, and uh, Sarah with Brenda Vaccaro, and Macmillan and Wife with Rock Hudson and um, Maggie. Um, I know a lot of stuff, but that's all backwoods stuff. Currently, what I'm doing now is horror movies, which I explained to you before. It seems that at the end of one's career, one does horror movies, as in Joan Crawford and Betty Davis and Baby Jane. I was reluctant at first to do horror movies and to come back because filming today is so different from filming in my day. Today, they don't rehearse, they shoot a movie in 10 days, and the budgets are like 150,000. I was used to being on $1 million movies where we shot 3 months and everything was rehearsed, table readings, and everything was done for perfection. So now I enter horror movies, which to me is like, hi, I want to make a movie with my home video camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I asked my director once, where is the camera? He said, oh, it's out there somewhere. It'll find you. I said, what do you mean the camera will find me? I have to know where the camera is so I can emote and get my points across from my character to the film to the audience. So you play it like you don't know where you are or what you're doing. Now, most actors today read lines. I'm an old time actor. I act. I believe in facial expression, body language, and the lines. And I like to create and be an innovator of new things when I work. When I shot Big Friggin Rat with Thomas J. Churchill, who's a brilliant director, and he's from Brooklyn, so we really understood each other.
Yeah.
I felt that a lot of my lines were not quite good for my character. And he was a tough Italian like me with a strong mind. And he said, no, 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 no. You have to do it exactly as it's written because Lionsgate won't have it any other way. And Lionsgate was distributing our film. And I said, yeah, but Church, this line I feel I could do so much better. Let me do it for you. and I did it the way I wanted, and he loved it. And he said, Ron, I want more of that. And I said, okay, so give me a little freedom with the lines. And he did. And I think we did a very, very good movie. The Big Friggin' Rat is a takeoff on the 1965-70 horror kill movies. It's about an enormous rat, the size of a minibus, Volkswagen, by the way, that Joe Castro built. Joe Castro is one of the best animator horror monster makers in the world.
Yes, he
And
is. Yes, he
oh,
is.
and when I went on the set and I looked at that damn thing, I got nauseous. I said, "Look, it's got filth, slime hanging from its teeth. That thing is scary." And that's supposed to eat me. Oh my God. Anyway, we began shooting the film. All was going well. And then at the very end of the film, I mean, I don't want to give away the plot, but I was supposed to be, the rat was supposed to tear off my leg. And I was supposed to fall back, hit the door, hit the floor, and then the rat was going to pick me up and fling me in the air. And I was ready to do it. But when the people on board the production, who are the watchers, I call them, they watch to see that everything is okay.
Mm-hmm.
They said, Ron, what is your age? I just found out your age. And I said, well, I'm 79. They said, oh my God, we thought you were like 50. I said, thank you. They said, yes, but we cannot allow you to do that shot because we're not insured and we feel it may hurt you and damage you because it's a lot of physicality. So
Ah.
I said, oh, okay, so what are we going to do? And they said, well, you'll go down in the basement and then the rat will come up with your arm and wristwatch that's identifiable in its mouth. So they got around it that way, which was sad for me because I really wanted to play with the rat. But I understand their point. And yes, it would have been a very physical thing being thrown in the air. This thing is monstrous. I mean, where do you see this rat? It's scary. It looks real. I mean, it's really a beautiful piece of work.
Yeah.
That was on Big Friggin' Rat. Clown Fear. I played Minister McFadden, who
Right.
is a light in the loafers gay minister who has a fake, junky, cheesy, crappy chapel in Las Vegas. I mean, really tacky. And the kids and the people that come there to get married don't know that he's really not a minister. He's a fraud. He's a charlatan. And he takes their $350 and then he tells them, listen, there's a shortcut back to town. Take Circus Road. Well, when they do, they're never found again because Circus Road
Ah.
is loaded with killer clowns. And it's a very interesting movie. It's spoofy and fun and campy, and I really enjoyed doing it. Sadie Katz is the star, and Sadie's my dearest and best friend. So working with her was just so much fun, and I totally enjoyed it. Prior to that, I was in a movie called Croker. Croker, I played a very nasty cop from Brooklyn who likes to push people around, a big shot, likes to humiliate and frighten people. But
Mm-hmm.
in Brooklyn, they couldn't care less. They were tough as he was. So he moves to Pittsburgh, and in Pittsburgh, he's got the farmer people, the little old nice people, and he loves to push them around and get tough. He suspects that this man has killed his brother and others. As the film unfolds, you find out that there's something that lives in the lake or the stream or the river, and it takes away the souls of people, and there the plot unfolds. And I played, what was my name? I forgot. I played whatever. I played Officer somebody who didn't believe there was a thing in the monster in the lake. I believed that this guy was killing everybody. And at the end, we find out that I was wrong and that the monster does attack you and sucks your soul out. And I found that out when I became face to face with the monster. So that was fun. Um,
Ah.
Down the road, I've got, maybe 7 or 8 movies to do now that we're in jail, as I put it. We're not filming. And at my age, I'll be 80 in May, and I have a little trouble memorizing lines. I have so many scripts now that I'm getting confused on who's what and where. I may just combine them all into one character. But it's difficult to memorize all of the movies and the shoots. The scheduling of the shoots are going to be one after another after. I think I've got 6 films to do in the next couple of months. So
Whew.
that's good for my career and good for my reel. Reason being, today you have to do When you do a film today, you need Asians, African Americans, white people, all sorts of ethnic people in your film. Also, you need people of age. And they call me because I look good, I can still walk, talk, and breathe at my age. So they always cast me as the older gent that they need in the film. Now, on certain films, if they use me, they get money from SAG or from whoever, I forgot who, but they get X amount of dollars for using someone over 75.
Oh,
That
okay.
works. Oh, yeah, that works also. Also, the fact that Jimmy Starr and I have a very hit TV show with over 5.5 million viewers throughout the world. Hey, listen, you get all that free publicity on your movie because,
Yeah.
Ron Russell and Jimmy Starr are going to push that film. So those are all the reasons that they hire me. Happy to say that Thomas J. Churchill constantly keeps saying what a good actor I am and how he loves my work. So that makes me feel, well, maybe they're hiring me because they like what I do. And that I hope is so.
I'm sure that is exactly so.
Well, I hope so.
And you touched on a whole lot of points that I kind of want to circle back on a little bit. You said you were a stand-up comedian. What was your best joke?
Well, being a stand up comedian back in the 1960s, you had to have an act that was very outrageous and different. People like Joan Rivers and people like just all those wonderful comedians that I came up with. So I decided, being that I knew Jane Russell and loved her so much, that I would impersonate Jane Russell on the stage. So I did 45 years of drag all over the country as Jane Russell. And one of my
Nice.
favorite joke and one of my favorite jokes was, I'll admit I'm a little older now, and I know this is going to be a surprise to you, but this morning when I was shaving my ankle, I cut my nipple. So, those are the kind of sagging boobs. And, jokes about a woman getting older. And it was a very good routine. And I was a very pretty Jane Russell, and I looked just like her. And I got away with it. And I became quite famous in the world of drag in New York City and in Florida. Not so much in LA because I didn't play the West Coast that much, but I
Hmm.
did that for years and years. And people thought I was a drag queen, and I kept saying, I'm not a drag queen, I'm an actor. I mean, if you look at my reel that's on Facebook now, you'll see me performing as a tough, mean cop. You'll see me performing as a mafiosa guy from Brooklyn, and then you'll see me impersonating a woman. So it's all part of the work that I do, and I
Right.
enjoy every bit of it. Tomorrow, if they want me to play a two-headed Martian, I'll play it. I'm dying to play a Martian and a vampire. So that's what it's called. It's called Hollywood.
Yeah, it's acting.
It's called acting. Alfred Hitchcock used to say it's called acting. When I interviewed Tippi Hedren, she said that to me when we were talking about certain things that went on in the film, Marnie as well as the birds. And she said, well, Ron, it's called acting.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you had said that you're the co-host of the Jimmy Star show with Ron Russell. What's that all about? Because I know my listeners are going to want to check that out.
Well, we're unfiltered and uncensored, so we curse and we get risque, sometimes a little more than we should. I'm famous for telling it like it is. Being Brooklyn born and raised. In Brooklyn, if you bullshit people or if you act like a phony, you're not going to make it in Brooklyn. Brooklyn people hate that. It's like get real or get lost. So that's how I am with our guests. We have some of the most famous people in the business on our show, and when they come on, they know what they're up against. I do not offend, I do not insult, and I do not hurt any of our guests. I treat them with love and care. I treat them with great respect, but I'm also funny in some of the things that I say.
Yeah.
Uh, it's an interesting show. It's 2 hours long. We have one guest for the first half and another guest for the second half. We play music. People come on to promote their movies, their music, or whatever it is they're doing. So we are giving a helping hand to young people who are starting off, as well as the vintage actresses like Lainey Kazan, and soon to come on our show is Adrienne Barbeau, and people that have not been around for a while and that need resurgence. So we're happy to help them along. to let Hollywood know these people are still alive and acting.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, we have a long list of old timers that come on our show. I've had them all on. My interview with Jane Russell is wonderful. Tab Hunter, Lauren Bacall, Betty Davis. I knew all the big celebrities of Hollywood years ago, and they all have marvelous stories to tell. And they're interesting people because they have words on their pages. A lot of the young kids today have blank pages. So as you know, when you interview them, it's very difficult to get anything substantial out of them that the audiences may enjoy.
Right.
A lot of these kids are shy or they're not trained. See, years ago, the studios trained every movie star on interview. It was the same interview they gave to everyone. It was rehearsed. It was perfect, but it wasn't real. Our show is not an interview show. Our show is a conversation show. We talk with them, and I tell everybody, pretend you're in Brooklyn in my kitchen, and we're having Entenmann's crumb cake and coffee, and we're shooting the breeze, and they love it,
That's
and they
perfect.
do. And our guests, and I'm not bullshitting or bragging or whatevering, but our guests, after they finish the show, say, I love your show. I've never had an interview show that I enjoyed so much. You guys are such fun. I was so relaxed. I felt so at home. I wanted to tell you everything. And
Yeah.
they do. So, yeah, watch it. You find us on W4CY. And I think if you go to my Facebook page, which is Ron Russell's show on Facebook, you can find out how to get there. I really don't know this technical crap of today. Jimmy does all of that. You know, well,
Well, there you go.
I'm from the days of black and white TV on a 9-inch screen, where 3,000 people sat in your living room and watched Ed Sullivan's show on a 9-inch screen.
When you were working for Time Warner and doing Set the Record Straight, did a lot of that kind of lend itself to doing the podcast?
When Jane Russell, who was my dearest friend, I went to her and I said, Jane, I want to do a talk show. Would you be my first guest? And she said, honey, for you, I'd do anything. So Jane Russell was my first interview. And the question I asked her was, Jane, in 1940, what size bra were you? And she said, a 36B. That's all. I was never bigger than that. And I don't know why everybody in Hollywood went crazy over my cleavage. Howard Hughes was the one. He was a boob man, and he made sure that the camera was in front of me when I leaned over the actor to pull the blanket up, and my cleavage showed. Well, the churches went crazy, people went crazy. It was obscene, it was vulgar. They banned the film, and it became the most famous film because everybody wanted to see Jane Russell's cleavage. So naturally, the question I would ask is, what size bra were you in 1940? And she then answered 36B. Well, Time Warner executives called me on the carpet. Oh, they went nuts. They said, we just heard from another fellow actress who had a talk show, a bitch. She was jealous of my show. And she went up and squealed on my show and said, oh, he's talking about Jane Russell's breasts and bras. Big deal. She did a bra commercial. She talked about her own tits, not me. So I said to the executive, no, I said to the executives, this is what I do. This is why my show is going to be better than anybody else's because I talk turkey. I don't do the usual bullshit. Hello, what do you do? Where were you born? You know, a lot of nonsense that people don't care about.
Yeah.
People want to know who my stars are. They want to know what my stars eat, drink, sleep, and do. And I tell them that. So the executive said, well, we don't approve of that. And I looked at them, I said, well, I guess we're not going to get along. But by the way, the show aired 3 minutes and got 16,000 views. What do you think about
Wow.
that? Oh,
That's
yeah, it's true.
impressive.
I found that statistic out. And they shut their mouth and they let me do my show every week. I had Arlene Dahl on and we talked about Lana Turner. And Lana Turner was married to Lex Barker. And Lex Barker was raping Lana Turner's daughter, Cheryl Crane, when she was 10 years old for a year. And I said to Arlene Dahl, well, you were married to him. Is that true? She said, absolutely not. Lex had a package so large, had he ever entered Cheryl, he would have killed her. Well, that's what they used for my commercial. Everybody was tuning in to set the record straight because Ron Russell was talking turkey with the biggest, famous, most legendary movie stars in the world. And my questions were answered by each and every one of them. And
Mhm.
they loved it because they said, Ron, it's about time we have something provocative to say instead of the usual baloney. My film, my work, I was there. Oh, who cares about your film and your work? We saw those films. Let's hear about you as a person. So that's what I did. And that's what I
Yeah.
do now. And I
Yeah.
will do it. No, I will do it forever. I've had not many. I've had maybe one or two that came in and said I was filthy, I'm disgusting, I'm a degenerate, whatever. And I said, good, tell your friends.
Well,
I like a bigger audience.
right. And you present a very good point that, people want to know more about who the guest is, not about the movies and all that. And we've touched on that with you. So I'd kind of like to get to know more about Ron himself. Like, what between all this stuff you got going on, what kind of hobbies do you find time for?
Oh my God. Top. Well, my salvation is my garden.
There you
I
go.
love I love my flowers and I love building. I just did cinder block walls around the garden and I did concrete work and I do digging and I work really hard at my garden. It was starting to look beautiful. Gardening is my number one thing. Number two is my beautiful Audi TT Roadster car that's a vintage car from 204, bright yellow canary, and it's a convertible. And my joy is driving that car around Palm Springs at night when it's cool with the top down. With Johnny Mathis on my radio singing all that wonderful stuff. By the way, I've met Johnny a few times, and Johnny is absolutely the most wonderful human being on this planet. Johnny Mathis is kind and generous, and he is the greatest singer, better than Frank Sinatra, better than Tony Bennett, better than all of them. For those of you who don't know who Johnny Mathis is, look him up, listen to his music. Your parents got pregnant listening to his love songs.
Probably so.
No, that's what Johnny says. John, he's wonderful. I really enjoy him. He's shy. I begged him to come on my show, and he said, "No, I don't do that. I know I'm really bad at it." I said, "Come on, I won't ask you questions that you don't want to answer. Certain things he doesn't like about his private life, and I know who he is in his private life, and I would never ask those questions or what his sexuality is or any of that stuff. I don't do that.
That's
I mean,
fair.
I do that with guests that are cool that I know. Like a lot of these rock and roll people, I say, "You gay or straight?" And some of them they say they're gay and they're cute. I said, "Listen, I have a friend of mine. His lover died 7 months ago. I'm looking to fix him up. You interested?" So that kind of stuff we do. It's fun. It's a fun show. It's a relaxed, fun show, unscripted, unfiltered. We have no idea what we're going to say. Jimmy comes in. Oh, the best part is Jimmy and I quarrel on the show deliberately. It's all fake, folks. That's a put on, and I let everybody know.
Hmm.
So many fans write in. I love when you fight with Jimmy, when you call him Queen Essa and Mary Poppins and all that stuff. They go crazy, laugh. They enjoy it so much. So we're an open show. We talk about everything. We're very diversified. We talk about gay things and straight things and prejudice and horrible things that make people unhappy. We try to get the world to understand that we all came out of the same place and we all go back to the same place. And in the middle, we should just be nice to each other. You know, we all
Absolutely.
we all have an equal right to everything on this planet. No one should be given more than another one. Black people should be treated like everyone, and gay people should have the same rights as straight people. Who the hell is whoever made you in charge to say what we should have and what you should have and what's wrong? That's bullshit. You know, everybody's equal. Period.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
I was married for 16 years. I have two wonderful daughters that I'm very close with and who I adore. If you go on my Facebook page, you'll know about that. And people say to me, "Yeah, but you were married. What made you go gay?" I said, "You don't go gay. I was gay when I was born. I don't ever remember being straight. I have no idea what being straight is. All I knew is that I came from a very strict Italian family, and you had to get married and have children. Back in my day, the 1960s, that's what you did. And I didn't mind. I mean, I didn't. My wife and I did not break up because I was gay. We broke up for other reasons, reasons that straight people break up. And I never chose to be gay. I was born gay. And I met Jimmy. He met me in the mall and he liked me and I liked him. And we saw each other and we decided to get married. and Jimmy and I are married. We're a happy gay couple. We're accepted by everybody, but still people say to me, why did you go gay? And I explain it this way. I don't go gay. I might be bisexual, I guess. I fall in love with the person. I don't fall in love with gender, if you can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
If I wasn't with Jimmy and I met the most intriguing, like I've met, like Judith Chapman, the soap opera actress who I adore, she's contemporary of mine, younger. But if I was straight, I would certainly date Judith Chapman because I love her. And I could see myself being married to her and living a very nice life. Also, I could see myself, like years ago, meeting Rock Hudson, marrying him too, because he would have made me happy. But it's the person I meet that I fall in love with. I don't go out for gender. I
Oh,
know it sounds weird, but a lot of people like me feel like that. They marry for gender. They don't. They do not marry gender. They marry the inner core, the soul, the person that is wonderful, warm, kind, gentle, and beautiful.
that is absolutely right.
Well, so many people marry for the exterior, for the gender, for the big boobs, for the great ass, for the big wang. They all marry for the wrong reasons. And then when that's gone, the marriage is gone. Whereas when you marry the soul lasts until death do part.
Exactly. Exactly. I always tell my wife that we're two halves of the same star.
Absolutely. There's no question about it. And that marriage will go forever.
It's going quite well so far.
Good, good. Ours is too. Jimmy and I are married 9 years legally,
Right.
and we're together 24/7. I mean, we're never apart. We live together, we work together, we go out together, and most couples would have killed each other by now, and we don't. We have our fights. We never fight about private things. We fight about business. Like when I joined Jimmy's show, it was a radio show. And I kept saying, Jimmy, we've got to do television. I'm not a radio performer. I feel I'm being cheated out of what I give. No, 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 no. We're successful. You're successful, my ass. What do you got? 9,000 people listening, or whatever he had. I said, we've got to go television. Well, we had a fight one day in the car so bad that I stopped. He stopped at a light. I got out of the car and I said, you know what? Goodbye. Nice knowing you, but you're not the one for me. And I began to walk. And he was driving alongside of me. He said, get in the car, stupid. What are you so mad about? I said, I'm mad about the fact that you don't understand me and that you're a thick-headed Irishman. All right? Well, I'm a thick-headed Italian and a tough guy. And I'm going to win because you're going to see if we do television, your show is going to be a smash hit. Well, we did television. And within 6 months, our ratings went from, I don't know what, to 1 million. And now they've gone to 5.5 million. And I just have an inner sense of what's good in the business. My feelings are the more you give the audience, the more audience you'll get.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
there are so many copycats of us, people now that are trying to do our show. I was born with a very gifted gift. I was born where when you met a friend in Brooklyn, you say, "Hey, fuckface, how are you?" And nobody got insulted. That was an affectionata.
Right.
Um,
Right.
because that's how we were. And I was always able to say funny jokes that were slanderous and dirty without offending people. I had that an innate ability to make it funny and cute and not offensive. And I maintained that throughout my career. Being a stand-up comic for 45 years, you certainly know your audience. I know where to go. I know what they like, what they don't like, just by the murmur of the audience, or the drinking, or the classic, or the talking. My audiences, I'm very happy to say, did not talk much. They laughed a lot. So I know where to go. I know it, as we say in the business, how to hit the button to make the
Yeah.
joke to make the joke work.
Yeah. I'm
The,
pretty sure I've heard you say that on your show. You've actually said
well,
hit the button.
yeah, I mean, if you don't hit that, that's why I beat Jimmy up on the show. I hit him with the mic. I scream at him. I really don't beat him up. Mike has a foam at the tip. I hit him in the head gently. But I say to him, Jim, when I'm ready to hit the button and you come in with something totally different, I've lost the moment and I can never get that moment back. And that joke is dead. So as my teammate, you have to learn, you're the straight man, I'm the comic. And when I'm ready to hit the punchline, the button, the joke, the end, the killer, keep your mouth shut. Sometimes he does, but sometimes he still interrupts. But that's Jimmy Star.
Right, I was gonna say that's what makes your show your show. It's beautiful.
But just let me say one thing about Jimmy. Jimmy Star is a genius in this business. He has created a PR company that is out of bounds now. Everybody wants to be on it. Jimmy has become one of the biggest producers now of movies. He's got so many films that he's getting funding for that will be coming out soon. Jimmy Star is a workaholic, not an alcoholic. He doesn't ever drink or do drugs. He's totally was raised strictly never to do drugs or drink.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Star is a brilliant man, one who I love and adore tremendously, and I'm happy.
Awesome, I love it. So Ron,
Yes.
I want to say thank you so very much for coming on my show and just telling me about yourself. You're an awesome guy I've had a great time talking to you. You've got some amazing stories under your belt, and this was just fantastic.
Thank you so much. You're so kind and you're so nice. And I'm sorry I got your title of your show wrong.
That's all right.
Well, I'm telling you, they must have read it on my Facebook. It's a sex show, so now 9 million people are listening.
Good. Bring it on.
It's good. Anyway, listen, I want you to stay safe. Listen to the rules, okay? 6 feet apart. Keep the mask on and the gloves because you're a terrific guy with a great show. And you're going to give so much to the world by being who you are. We want you to be safe and well. And thank you so much for this interview. I greatly appreciate it. And I had a good time. You know, old guys, we love to tell it like it was.
I'm going to follow those rules, and I'm going to keep things healthy and keep this show going for all the listeners who tuned in to check this out, even if it was 9 million of them that thought they were going to hear about sex today. But I want to say happy early May birthday to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You definitely don't look a day over 30, so keep up what you're doing.
And, you know what we used to say in Brooklyn? Bullshit makes the flowers grow.
Well, thank you so much again, Ron, and thank you to all the listeners, and we'll catch you all next time.
Thank you so much, and you take care now. Bye.
Oh, now that was an awesome interview. Thanks so much for listening. You all are so great. And don't forget to head to Facebook, Insta, and Twitter and follow The Leo Effects. If you want to hear some comedy and ridiculous voices, check out Shattered Dungeons on YouTube and all other places podcasts can be heard. And you'll hear me voicing crazy characters, usually pretty terribly. So thank you so much. You all are the absolute best. And we will see you all on the next episode.